Today, I'll show you the alternate history behind SpyXFamily. If you're unfamiliar, SpyXFamily is a popular anime and manga series that follows a secretive family, a spy father, an assassin mother, an esper daughter, and a clairvoyant dog. While the relationships and characters make SpyXFamily great, for an alternate history enthusiast like myself, the real fascination lies in the setting, the backdrop in which this story is set. The story of SpyXFamily is set in a version of East Germany during the Cold War, but it's clear that this isn't our world's 1960s. In the manga, only 4 central nations are explicitly named, each layered with potential real-world parallels and hidden historical implications. Westalis is the home nation of Twilight and his organization Wise, essentially the West German BND. Westalis appears as an XP of West Germany, reflecting its role and name. With Twilight in his late 20s to early 30s, the story being set in the 1960s, we can infer that the last significant conflict between Westalis and Astania occurred in the 1940s or 1950s, potentially as a proxy war between the Eastern and Western superpowers. Astania stands as the rival to Westalis and bears a strong resemblance to East Germany. Ost means east in German. This raises an intriguing question. Does Austria exist in this world, or could it be part of Astania? The uniform of the Astanian secret police resembles that of the Stasi, and the shared history between Westalis and Astania suggests a unified past before an alternate version of World War II and the Cold War split them up. The existence of a quote-unquote royal academy implies that Astania once had a monarchy, similar to the German Empire's House of Hohenzollern. The Desmond family adds another layer of mystery with their notably Irish surname. Could they be a recent political dynasty from Irish immigrants, or an ancient nobility that migrated centuries ago? Hugaria, used by Astanian intelligence agents for their cover stories, is an XP of Hungary. Similar to Hungary's position within the Warsaw Pact, Hugaria appears as an ally or a friendly nation to Astania. Like Hungary, Hugaria is a wine-producing country, suggesting a shared cultural and political alignment with Astania. Nordica is mentioned as a neutral nation to the north, not aligned with either Westalis or Astania. A young Yor used the quote-unquote Far East as a cover story for her assassination work, flipping the familiar anime trope of attributing strange behavior to how they do things in the West. While we have yet to learn much about this region, it is potentially aligned with Astania. The Far East may represent either a unified federation or a confederation of East Asian nations. Given the available clues and some creative speculation, here's my proposed timeline that could explain what's different about this world. In the 1500s, several Irish noble families, including the Desmonds, fled to mainland Europe after several failed rebellions against English rule. Seeking refuge, they established themselves in the Holy Roman Empire. Over generations, the Desmond family rose within the empire's complex nobility structure, building modest power and influence. By the 18th century, they were middle-class nobility, adapting to local customs while retaining their distinct Irish identity. This heritage would eventually help them survive and adapt through numerous revolutions and regime changes that could shape the land that would later become Astania. As in our world, the German Empire united in the late 19th century, fueled by nationalism and the ambitions of a powerful centralized state. This empire would eventually draw Europe into World War I, a conflict that mirrored the devastation of our own history. Following their defeat, the German Kaiser was deposed, replaced by a fragile Republican government, struggling to stabilize amid the economic ruin and political upheaval. In this timeline, however, the fall of the empire did not signal the end of monarchism. Influenced by families like the Desmonds, who favored a strict central rule, a powerful faction of aristocrats began advocating for a new form of monarchy in the East, a foundation for the future state of Astania. An early version of fascism rises in this Germany, capitalizing on the chaos and economic despair left by World War I. As in our world, this new fascist regime plunges Europe into another devastating conflict. World War II, Germany faced defeat again, and in the aftermath, Allied forces decided to split the country down the middle, establishing two distinct governments to prevent any future unification of German power. However, in this timeline, West Germany, or Westales, becomes a republic supported by Western democratic nations. In contrast, East Germany, Ostania, becomes a monarchist state influenced by its pre-World War I aristocratic roots. With centuries of influence and adaptability, the Desmond family rises to prominence within Ostania, helping to shape its new government structure. The Russian Civil War takes a radically different turn in this timeline. With the backing of various pro-monarchist factions and foreign supporters, the White Army triumphs over the Bolsheviks. This victory leads to the re-establishment of a Tsardom, replacing the USSR with a new Russian monarchy that seeks to export its monarchical ideology. The new Tsardom quickly works to stabilize its borders and expand its influence over neighboring states, setting up puppet monarchies in allied nations. Ostania and Hungaria are two monarchies established under the Tsardom's watchful eye, reflecting Russia's goal of creating a solid bloc of aligned monarchies across Eastern Europe and Central Asia. These monarchies share a loose confederation known as the Imperial Eurasian Treaty Organization, a counterbalance to the West in this alternate Cold War. Ostania's government structure becomes a curious blend of monarchy and oligarchy. While the aristocracy retains power and prestige, a single royal figure is no longer the focal point. Instead, power is concentrated within a council of noble families, with the Desmond dynasty emerging as the most influential political force. This ruling class upholds capitalist economics and a stratified society, with the working class granted limited freedoms, including access to some Western media and consumer goods. To maintain internal control, Ostania relies heavily on its secret police, which resembles East Germany's Stasi. The Ostanian government enforces strict loyalty, using surveillance and propaganda to quell dissent. The Royal Academy continues to educate the children of the elite, serving as both a symbol of the old monarchy and a tool to reinforce social hierarchy. As the Tsardom seeks ideological allies in Asia, it finds a powerful partner in the Japanese Empire. During the Russian Civil War, the Japanese Empire aided the White Army, cementing a bond between the Tsardom and Japan's imperial factions. This alliance allowed Japan to advance its interest across East Asia, conquering the Republic of China with the support of the Tsardom. Despite resistance from other factions within Japan, the Japanese army crowned their emperor as the Emperor of the Far East. This new empire, encompassing Japan, Korea, China, and Manchuria, serves as a unified East Asian power with a pro-monarchist stance, mirroring the Tsardom's ideological goals. Though tensions exist within the Far East borders, its imperial structure remains intact, serving as another ally for Ostania in this divided world. This brings us to the present day of SpyXFamily, the 1960s. The world is firmly entrenched in a Cold War-like conflict between East and West, with Ostania and Westales as the primary battlegrounds of espionage and ideological struggle. Westales, formed from the post-war divisions made by the United States, Britain, and France, Westales emerged as a republic committed to Western democratic values. As a former part of a unified Germany, Westales shares deep cultural and historical ties with Ostania. However, its alignment with Western powers fosters an open, progressive society that contrasts sharply with Ostania's rigid, hierarchical system. The intelligence organization where Twilight works actively seeks to counter Ostanian influence and prevent any sparks of conflict from igniting into full-blown war. The aristocratic ruling class, represented most visibly by the Desmond family, maintains a tight grip on power. Ostania's society is stratified, with only the elite enjoying actual privileges. The common people, though subjected to intense surveillance by the secret police, are not entirely cut off from Western influence, receiving selective access to Western media and consumer goods. However, anti-Western propaganda is standard, fueling public distrust of Westales and its allies. Fiercely protective of its power and tradition, keeps Ostania's working class subdued, fearing any hint of democratic influence from Westales. The delicate peace between these two nations teeters on the brink, held together only by covert diplomacy, strategic espionage, and the covert efforts of spies like Twilight. In this tense environment, the missions to prevent war between Westalis and Astadia defines the lives of SpyXFamily's main characters. The balance of power is fragile, and both sides work tirelessly in the shadows to preserve their way of life. Now, in conclusion, this world, and the timeline I made for it, isn't realistic in the traditional sense. Still, this is a universe where espers, clairvoyant dogs, and superhuman feats are par for the course. The beauty of SpyXFamily lies not only in its characters, but in its nuanced world building. Greetings, agents and operatives. I am Baa'el de Carcosa, your shepherd. I hope you enjoyed today's alternate history with me. If you like this, look at my other videos for what ifs and coulda beens. My channel is still finding its flock, so your support means everything. Leave a like, tap subscribe, and join the flock. Have a world you'd like to witness? Please leave your ideas in the comments. I'm always eager to spin new yarns with you. Until next time, Slan, agasingat.